We were the anti-nuclear capital of the world. I was an autistic kid. My father was a drafted United States Marine, an incredible man. I come from an incredible family. My uncle stood on Omaha Beach on D-Day. I grew up on a huge ranch out by the lake. He was a beautiful, incredible person. He was at Pendleton, combat ready, and they were human guinea pig. They were marched into the trenches in Nevada. They're called atomic veterans. He nearly died at the blast. Between 1951 and 1968, we had 300 open-air tests. Well, as different scientists started to write about this, Wallace Stegner was at the University of Utah at the time. I got to know him. Edward Abbey was hanging around there. I got to know him. I got to know all these environmentalists, and I was an environmentalist, and it was a passionate, intense subject matter there.
All nuclear fighters, all hands on deck, all hands on deck, all hands on deck. All nuclear fighters, all hands on deck, all hands on deck, all hands on deck. They'll be calling you a radical. Boomgate, 311, whatever you want to call it. I call it Pacific genocide, whatever. It's fucking giant conspiratorial across all demographics. All nuclear fighters, all hands on deck, all hands on deck, all hands on deck. They'll be calling you a radical. All nuclear fighters, all hands on deck, all hands on deck, all hands on deck. Boomgate, 311, whatever you want to call it. I call it Pacific genocide, whatever. It's fucking giant conspiratorial across all demographics. They'll be calling you a radical. May God have mercy on all of your souls.
Nuclear power was evolving.
We got a problem. Hi, Kevin Blanch. Sorry about that. We had some major technological problems this morning. By the way, my email hack, they tried. I'm very sophisticated about this. Do not kid yourself. This whole genre, and every time I've went along with this on my YouTube site, everything, I know what I've been up to from the beginning. I've had firewalls built into so much of this. By the way, the IT department at the university says my YouTube site has been hacked 186 times. They block it every time. The rats and the trolls, and I want to talk a lot about this, about what's going on in Canada with this Palco rat and this Dots rat and this group of rats that are in Calgary, that are in BC. Now, we have the good fighters in Calgary, the best of the best, but I want people to understand this is a PR firm named Edelman that's been hired to go against this. Palco works for them. Now, I can prove it. So does Dots. By the way, Palco faked that he is dying. He's not dying. This guy is the rat of the worst kind. I want to explain what is going on with this whole rat up in Canada. And boy, I've been very sophisticated and smart on this. I've left a lot of the comments up just long enough on the advice of Anonymous, on the advice of my attorney, on the advice. I know what I'm doing. On the advice, he says, just leave them up just long enough for them to spill the goods. Now, let's be clear on this. Palco claims that he had no idea who this Dots guy was. We have a screenshot of a package, 2 dots from Palco. We've got it, our anonymous people, a couple months ago. Now, whether it was Palco's family, Palco's brother, this is a PR firm named Edelman that has been hired to go against us. Now, I want to explain this, what this rat is up to. And this is the rat of worst kind of rats. And by the way, you folks in the hound, if you're really hounds, you're going to let Dana, a guy who's doing all this incredible work out there on his own, if you guys do not protect him on this one, then you will be forever gilded in gold, casting car as the Fukushima Chihuahuas. Forever. It's your time. It's your time to stand up. Dana's done incredible fucking work. Put his life on the fucking line. Stuck it out there. This Dots guy has committed major, major felonies. So has Palco. I want to explain this. As you know, I have a little fund called Blanch Swartz that I've had for a long time. In the spring, every time I fire Blanch Swartz back up, I'm going to buy some of the Apple derivatives. Anybody that wants to invest, and the fund is going to be 100%, all proceeds, all money that goes into the fund, 100% for fighting the nuclear cartel and activism against the nuclear cartel. It's been said on YouTube, on my videos, in the spring, hundreds of times, if not thousands of times. I get a call from a guy in Canada. Says he's an old man. Sounds like an old man. Said he's dying. He says, I'm just like you. I was given a couple months to live. Oh, he told me that he would be dead in the next few months. Said he had $500,000. He said he wanted to put $250,000 into this fund and leave this as his legacy. His no regrets legacy. There was never any talk of any no regrets fund. Never. Never. It's all made up bullshit. Blanch Schwartz is the name of the fund. When people invest in it, there's not many people invest in it. All the money is invested, and all the money was 100% legally to fight the nuclear, and which was handed contracts, handed documents to everybody, plenty of witnesses to all this. This guy comes to me, slowly baits me in. Slowly, he says, well, I'm going to send you, $2,500 to help your hospital bills, blah, 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 which a lot of people have done, by the way. This whole fight, whatever, that's how I've been able to survive. By the way, I was given 2 months to live. I have one of the most hardcore forms of leukemia a human being could possibly get. I have OS, AML, de novo. The survival rate is near zero. I am the first guy they know of in the United States that has survived this long, cleanly, without a bone marrow transplant. Now, my beautiful friend Marshall, who is all over KSL and whatever, is the first person. He and I are the only two left standing out of our group. He's been all over our local media. He's an amazing young man. I didn't see this story. By the way, the synchronicities are incredible. He was in our unit. He and I both had to make decisions on the bone marrow transplant at the same time in the spring of 2012. He'd just been married to his beautiful young wife, just barely, new baby, given the freaking horrible fucking news, just like me. This kid is fucking tough as nails. He's an amazing young man, amazing. He had the bone marrow transplant. Didn't work. Experimental in Austin. So he is the first guy that they're using the new HIV, injecting the HIV in him, which a doctor from it. Now get this. I'm at the Million Masked Man March. I have a layover in Philadelphia, of all places. Come to find out, he was flying on the next flight. I didn't see him in the synchronicity. So he's in Philadelphia. He came home. They had a big party for him. And I want people to understand, when I came home to Western Weber County, Utah, there was no party for me. I painted orange ribbons on my own house. I invited everyone who showed up, a Springer Spaniel, a Border Collie, 2 doves, and a snake, and myself. Nobody showed up. My daughters, they supported me, my grandchildren. My brother, who's sick now, too, but it's amazing. Nobody. Why? Because the community hates my guts. Because they're Mormon Kool-Aid drinkers who all work for Westinghouse. They work for the nuclear cartel. What us as nuclear activists are under. Now, you think about this. Dana is tapped in a wheelchair. Those are multiple hardcore felonies. If that happens to anyone besides a nuclear activist, that video gets millions of views and people go to jail. Not against us. We're hated people. Nuclear activists are the most hated people in the world. Why? And I can really get into psychology because it is the biggest subject matter in the world that no one wants to believe. No one thinks they can believe it. So it's obvious. Hate, shoot the messenger. Shoot the messenger. So let's talk about this. So he comes to me. He's calling me. I never called this guy. Call me every day. Call me every week, every day. I'm dying. It won't be long now. It won't be long. I want to leave a legacy, blah, blah, this, Blanch, blah, 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 blah. And so he says, but I want to meet you, and come up. And he did the same thing to Thomas Ackerman. Please come over. I want to meet you. And he talks just like this, real soft. Hi, Kevin, man. It won't be long now. And I'm thinking he's an old man. He's very educated, very intelligent guy. Through conversation, hundreds of conversations. I'm very leery. I'm like, really? I says, you sure you have disposable income? Do you have any family? He told me he had no family, had no heirs. He said he had a son that he had an estranged relationship with, that his wife had. And I said, well, what about that? Is there anybody? You married? No. It's just me. I don't have anyone to leave it to, blah, blah, and that's what I want to leave it to. You sure? I drew up paperwork. So I'm very leery. On the way up there, I get trapped on the tarmac. The door fell off the fucking door. Don't fly United, by the way. The whole trip was a disaster. It was on the Equinox. We planned on at the Salt of the Earth Summit, we were going to meet Shane Russell, Troy Livingston, Thomas Acker, myself, and Jeff. Of course, I get up there after sunset. Shane comes and picks me up, Ackerman comes and picks me up. It was a tough gig. Get set up. We go there the next day. I get in very, very late. I'll go to bed probably 2, 3 in the morning. Get over there. I don't get over there till around 10, 11. Jeff's still in bed. It says he's dying. He gets up. Lonnie has sent him a juicer. By the way, he never used. After I tried it, we make some paintings or whatever. We go out the whole thing. We tour around. It was nice. It was fun. Jeff talked for a calm. He was very happy. Good to see us. Very cordial in a very great way. We made some incredible paintings. We did a lot of work on very important paintings, by the way. I've been working on my Chairs of Despair for over a year now, those 2 paintings. So Ackerman sketched them. And so they come over there, and they're my idea, they're my gig, they're my whole thing. The post-ignorance, Free Radicals, Delivering Post-ignorance, they're important paintings, very important paintings that have been in the works for a long time, and the Dogma Burgers. Of course, you've heard me go on the Dogma Burgers. So Ackerman meets me there. We finish up the Dogma Burgers, painting them. Very important pieces of work, historical pieces of art, incredible pieces of art. So, anyway, the next day, Jeff whispers in my ear and says, well, don't say anything around my family. His mom's there. Mom's great. She's friendly. His son shows up. Son, very friendly. He was having fun, with us, whatever. But we were only there just a couple hours at the house. We stayed in hotels. We didn't stay at that house. But, there just for a couple hours. I had a lot of things going on, including meeting with Shane, meeting with Troy, and this was so important as far as meeting with Shane Russell. Getting documentation set aside. Sorry about the noise. I'm up against a lot of adversity. The rats and the trolls are out of the woodwork on me. It's incredible what I'm up against. Fighting this while fighting off AML leukemia in a very brutal way. So, the next day, the deal's $250,000. We're going to set up this fund, which, by the way, to set up a hedge fund in a very sophisticated way, that's the minimum it takes. This is serious business we're trying to fight. We're excited. We finally got us a philanthropist who's got the money set up, which we've had several of them that said they were going to do this. I met with one in San Diego that said they were going to set it up for the Post-Ignorance Project, which this is set up incredibly legally, attorneys, the whole works, tax consultants. We've been at this for a long time. You've heard me talk about it to nausea. So then Jeff says, he hands me a check for $10,000 Canadian. Do you know the exchange rate? Which is about 12% less. I said, Jeff, I thought you said you had $250,000 disposable. And he says, well, I have $500,000. Right. What's the 10,000? Well, it's all in gold. It's in gold. You told me it was 100% disposable as cash, and you were dying. Thing. Well, okay, whatever. When I left that day, I told Ackerman, we just been had. He says, how do you know? I had a conversation with Jeff. He let the cat out of the bag, that he worked for the Canadian Oil and Gas Line Counter, which is the whole energy complex, which I had already known that there was a PR firm up there that worked for Canadian that was countering Keystone called Edelman. They're the Queen's PR firm, and they're hired. He let the cat out of the bag that he worked for them. I told Ackerman, we've been had, Ackerman. We have been had. These guys are freaking work for this PR firm. They're trying to tee us up. He says, oh, no. I said, bullshit. I've been down this road too many times. We've been had. I think Palco knew that I knew. I'm a smart dude. I've been around a long time and a lot of things. I've dealt with a lot of big fish in my life. And I know how the passive-aggressive, I know how they work. That's how they work. They don't come in your face. What you see, a person who's loud, screams, yell, water in your face, you love those guys. What you see is it's the passive-aggressive. And then he's telling me he's dying. Well, in Canada, it's very easy to get disabilities. Why? They're flush with cash because of the energy complex, and they don't have a war machine. Jeff's on permanent disability, he's telling me. This is all he's telling me, but he's got this rare disease, apparently, And he's telling me he will be dead in the next. He says, I'm going fast, Kevin. You got to hurry and get up here. We had to rush my passport, update my passport, which costs us a bunch of money to get up there. We had to rush plane tickets to get up there. I had to rush hotels, which cost us a lot of money, which we had to fork that up front. He keyed me up. I got up there. I knew I'd been had. So when I leave, I'm trapped in the airport for another, I knew I'd been had. I got home, took all the money, put it right in the freaking fund, which the fund is set up 100%. You've heard me say this hundreds of times. It's as legal as legal. People have to sign contracts. Give them the contract. It says simply every single penny you donate to Kevin Blanch, this freaking Kevin Blanch gig, the whole gig, is 100% up to the discretion of Kevin Blanch solely for anti-nuclear activists. I put the money in the thing. I bought a trade, which will vest in February. I bought the Apple derivative on the upside, which the Apple derivative on the upside is way up, by the way. Way up. I mean, you took a look at the price lately. So there's a bunch of people that went in, and they fully know. I don't hear any of them. And don't you love it how he calls it no regrets? Sounds like a whole bunch of regrets to me. He's a con man. He works for them. So get this. Next thing you know, I'm in New York, and his timing is impeccable. I know what he's doing. I won't even email the guy so bad. He sends me another check out of the blue. Says my dad's not. He tells me I have an estranged relationship with my father. I have an estranged. He says now he's coming around. Whatever. Well, the mom, you could tell he's got ex-wife estranged with everybody. Now we can see why. So here comes another check for 6,000 Canadian. I'm thinking, what? And he calls me. He sends down the paintings. He sends down all this going along. But I know, and he knows I know. I'm like, whatever. So he sends me emails after, and I have them all. You should see these emails. I won't even email him back. I'm there, Jeff, you need to talk to me. Call me on the phone. So next thing you know, I'm at the climate. I'm a busy dude, boy, if you haven't noticed. I'm at Climate March intense. I'm getting on the plane. My phone lights up like a Christmas tree. Dozens of phone calls. Jeff Palco. And by the way, have any of you seen those videos that he put up? Oh, my God. Morphine-induced madness. He's going to the pain clinics. I guess in Canada they have pain clinics you can get into, and they'll just give you whatever you want. I mean, he goes into Louisville on these. I won't even watch them. I'm like, whatever. Fuckers lost. I mean, they're vile as it gets. So there's some phone calls, not by me. And this is, his mom. I knew they'd throw him in the loony bin. That's what they do, and that's where he belonged. So they throw him in. Now get this. He gets out, calls me. I have the phone call recorded, by the way, and puts up that video. I'm so sorry, God. It wasn't me, telling me he doesn't even know this Dutch guy. He claims, and you've heard it, he claims, now, I want people to very well understand this. He claims that he doesn't even know this Dutch guy's name. Now, we know through Anonymous that it was Dotz, Palco's brother, and Edelman. Posted all these checks to Dana, to me, by the way, the check that Palco owes Ackerman a bunch of money. The check written to Thomas Ackerman, Palco owes Ackerman several $1,000s for a bunch of expenses, blah, blah, this, that, and the other thing, and he only gave him a portion of it. And then he has the guts. So they put these out. Then these people that put them out actually represented it. They were the police. They were the Royal Canadian Police, which I saved those emails, which are hardcore crimes. I'm smart about this. I let them go. I let them go because I knew they would give out the freaking goods. Palco claims, now get this, this is Jeff Palco's checkbook, his bank account. Now he said it, and you've seen it all over, that he had no idea who this Dotz guy even was. I says, Jeff, how is that possible? You do not know who this guy is, and he has checks, he has your bank account. That's impossible, Jeff. It was my brother. So I've dug into his brother. His brother's named Kevin Palco. His father's named Frank Palco. They work for Edelman. They're being paid by Edelman to go after this. The checks were released online with check numbers, which are felonies. Felonies. Not to mention against international law. To expose a check between two individuals by a third party into the internet space is a felony. To represent that you are a policeman when you are no police are felony, which they committed over and over. Now, all these trolls and rats that were going at us all use these fake names and these shill names. I didn't block them. I let a lot of them go. Girl in Vancouver, these things. Now, whether she in it, my guess, yes. I guess my estimate is the whole group of them in it, but she may have just been sucked in by these rats. So then he comes out, claims that he's the victim. You know, and then he says, I'm so sorry, Kevin. You saw the videos. He apologized. Apologize. I said, we'll put up a video. So we're on the video. I kept calling him, you know, he's working the video. I called him 3 or 4 times, you know, and he gets the video up. Okay, Kevin, you know, and he's talking his same old path. Sorry, Kevin, I'm so sorry, but at least he'll get rid of some of these rats and trolls when he's the rat and I troll. So it goes on and on and on. So next thing you know, I'm emailing him and calling Jeff, you need to talk to me, because he puts up another video about this. There was never no regrets fund. There was never no talk about a no regrets fund. Never. This is made up bullshit. This is how they play and create. Now, by the way, my fund is called Blanch, the Post Ignorance Project. There are hundreds of people who have put money into it. Hundreds. Now think about it. I want you to really think about this. What's the name of his YouTube site? The Original Punisher. I remember the first time I saw it, I'm like, whoa, Kevin. I was very leery. You know, Lon told me, don't do it. A lot of people told me, and I said, well, this is our chance for a philanthropist to put this together to where we can really have the money to go inside, you know, the political process and really fight these guys. It takes a lot of money to fight these guys, which we've spent just this year alone. How many places I've traveled? Do you think that's free? You know what I do? Wow, and I live very frugally. You know, people can pour over my taxes and whatever. They'd be amazed what I live on. I live on nothing, because I don't have nothing. But that's the way this fight is. It's obscene to me. These rats and trolls can do this to me. And it's obscene to me if this was anybody besides anti-nuclear activists. There would people go to jail. But we are the most hated people in the world, anti-nuclear activists, because it's the toughest subject in the world. It is the herd of elephant. It is the subject that people cannot handle. They cannot handle the incredible corruption. They cannot handle the fact that it trumps everything and mows down your life for cancer. Let's remember, these people are faking. They are frauds, you know. I don't know either the guy's insane, he's extremely bipolar. Well, we know what's going on. But it's outrageous, it's criminal, it's disgusting. And let's not forget, I want people to be very, very clear on this. I've been in the most hardcore fight of my life. I have AML leukemia de novo. They beat it back with the heavy chemo, which survives very few, and then it comes right back. I have watched it come right back on our whole group. Paul came back, killed him. Carla come back, killed her. Tracy come back, killed her. Judy came back, killed her. I can go on and on and on. This Glaucia came back, killed her. You know, our incredible group. It's down to me being Marshall. Now, Marshall has been flown to Philadelphia, and he's been injected with the HIV virus, he's the first one, from what I understand, that really won. He's one tough, militant, amazing young man. You can see why they picked him. He has an extremely brutal, radical fucking form of leukemia in him. He was just married, a brand new baby. I had not seen the video. My daughter called me. She says, Kevin, look at this. Marshall was on the news on 8, whatever. And, at light the night, he's always there. I'm like, where's Marshall? Marshall wasn't there. So when I was in the hospital yesterday, I was in the hospital all day the day before yesterday. All day. My doctors will straight up tell you, my platelets will not recover. They have flown up to where I can live with them, over 100, not much more over 100, and they've plateaued. But there was a guy 5 years ago who said home to die who didn't die, same thing. Our doctor says these are dynamic, rare, new. I don't think they're that rare. I think it's Utah. I think it's the byproduct of second-generation victims of nuclear fallout with more nuclear fallout. I think it's happening in droves. I know it's happening in droves. It's presenting a tumor and it's killing people with appendicitis. The survival rate I have is nearly zero. I made the choice to do without a bone marrow transplant, which was I had to pray. I mean, I had a dream that night. There's a video up there, on April 24th. I mean, so scary. This has been to know that it can come back on me at any moment and just mow me down, kill, which I know the statistical probability of that happening is about 90-something%. For a guy to come to me and says, oh, he's not, when he's lying, by the way, it's so heartbreaking. Betrayal on Balco. I'm the rats and the trolls that participate. I want to talk something about Alps on the show today. There's another meltdown going down in Russia, and I'll be digging into that today, and I'll get the reports on it. It's being heavily covered up. There's another freaking disaster going on in the southern Russian region, from what we're hearing. Now, it's impossible to get any information. Remember when the rebels took the one nuclear reactor, even Google, they took it right down. YouTube videos, they took it right down. Now, I'm working on it. There's a possible problem going at Byron in Illinois. Some freelancers are working on that. There's a lot of problems going on. We can get no information out because they filled up. I want to also talk about the protests last night in New York City. I'm heavily tied with those guys. You know that. I can't fucking breathe. I'm going to protest today. Protests are going to emerge massively around the United States today over Eric Gardner. That is horrific. This is New York City. Come on, Bellagio. I thought you were one of us. You saw that chokehold. They killed him. By the way, it's against New York City police rules to do a chokehold. Arresting for selling cigarettes. Really? Really? Now, can't you make a more calm, cool arrest? It's outrageous. It's horrible. It's disgusting. The social media and the live stream last night, I was watching it all night. It was amazing. These protests were big in New York City, really big, huge last night. New York City, the best protesters in the world, absolutely. I protest all over the country. I'm there many times. I understand. They're the best. I can't fucking breathe. This is going to erupt. This is a tinderbox, a police state, right here where I live in little rural Utah, which is the most backwards people in the world, who they all work at Westinghouse, in the mock field plant, dying left and right. They are sick. Our little high school, I want to explain this, Fremont High, right down the road from my house, went on lockdown 2 days ago. And I want to tell how insane the military force is. Kid, everybody has done that. It's the gun-toting freaking place in the world. I mean, it's gun lunacy where I live. It's gotten quite poor. It's very rural. This kid goes to school. He's got a loaded gun. Well, one of the other kids squeals on him. There's a cop out there. Cop does perfect work. Just walks up to the kid. Hey, he's got a load. Just takes the gun. Situation's defused, over. Handcuffed him. Okay, it's over. It's over. Cop did a beautiful freaking job. He handled the students, handled it calm, cool, collected. Very beautiful job. What they do with these SWAT teams and which these people are insane, these low IQ cops that are all over here, which they just, you want to talk military industrial, they're doing, I guess, maneuvers somewhere, which that's all they do is maneuvers all day, every day. They're gung-ho, beat up. So they've got to make a show. After the whole thing's completely situation, it's done. It's a done deal. Every cop, and we've hundreds and hundreds of cops, SWAT teams show up, put the school on lockdown. Now get this. Single file the entire student. When they know the whole thing's over, the whole thing's done, frisking every student that comes out of there. Traumatizing students. That is the definition of fascism, a police state. The cop did a beautiful job. The students handled it. This kid, over some girl, whatever, and it just shows you, which those kind of situations happened when we went to school over and over and over, but the whole world didn't have freaking Glocks and guns. Everybody's got them. They're easy disposal, and anybody can just get their hands on them anytime they want because everybody's got them. Very freaking intense situation, very scary situation. The cop did a beautiful job. Beautiful, and that's my point here. New York City is full of great cops. They're full of bad cops. Washington, D.C., full of Homeland Security is about. Well, here, great cops. I played athletics and sports for decades. Baseball, basketball, I coached for decades. I played clear almost to 50 years old. Baseball, basketball. So a lot of my teammates are cops. Great guys, really great guys. They know. You got to hear the conversation with them. What we're doing is putting them at risk. You know, they need to stand up within the police forces. They need to stand up from within and say, hey, these fucking gung-ho, crazy fucking murdering fuckers, I don't support those fuckers, and they need to turn on them. That's the only way this will break. But it's not going to happen. This is a fascist country we live in, a fascist state. This country is over. It is over. This is fascism, 100%. Everybody's serving coffee to each other because there's no jobs. Why is there no jobs? Oh, no tariffs. We're going to compete with slaves in China. We allow corporations to do that. We allow corporations not to pay tax. A woman called me from Aurora and says, you know, Aurora was rich. I says, yeah. She says, well, we need to build up the manufacturing base. Not going to happen. Why Operation Foxconn? They drank the Kool-Aid, the free market fight. And the only way it will happen overnight as soon as you put a tariff in. Now, Russia started to put tariffs in, but it's too late. They got desecrated by the nuclear industry. Now think about it. Russia, after the Cold War, went all in military. Mayday. It's Mayday every day here. You know, they went all in. All their human resources, all their freaking natural resources, all their wealth to the military machine. Competing, you know, here come the Olympics, 1972, 76, that's all it was. A tiffin match. Obscene. The country was desecrated. Because what happened? You went all in, they bankrupted the country. They broke the country. And so there's plutonium plants that are freaking, I mean, it's not just Chernobyl, the reactor per se. Half the region is desecrated with nuclear fallout. Life expectancy is off a cliff there. So why do you think the adoption thing went so viral here in the last 20 years post-Chernobyl? It's not just, like I said, it's not just Chernobyl. There are nuclear reactors in disarray all over there. The old plutonium plants, a shell of a building. There's regions half the size of the United States that are uninhabitable. Forever. The only thing living there are the wolves. The wolf spirit. We are walking the same plank. Post 9/11, the fear complex on Balco. That wasn't the plan. Wasn't that the plan? They won. And you think about it, was that some dynamic idea? No, it was not a dynamic idea. It's an old idea that's been kicked around. They pulled it off. They got lucky. But the fear, the rejection, America has nothing but fear itself. America it exposed that America's cowards. Overworked? Yes, absolutely. Are the food chain got their brains mush? Absolutely. The school system's so bad that they come out poorly educated? Absolutely, on Balco. All of the above. We gutted the education system in the early 80s. Remember when a school teacher used to be put up on a pedestal? They used to make huge money. They were pillars of the community. They were the community. The principal of the school they were the community. Not now. And we've gone to private schools, and the Christian madrasas here, they are everywhere. And you talk to these kids, they're very poorly educated. There's no certification among teachers. I mean, it's sad. It's a grotesque free fall that this country is in. Not going to happen. And if you don't believe me, look at the debt. We won't even talk about it. Look at the spending on the military complex. And the environment, it's like this. We won't even talk about the environment as far as the heating up. Let's talk about the global warming, which is very, very real. The climate is in freaking free fall. It is in peril, incredible peril. You know how much water is heated a day by nuclear reactors released into the atmosphere a day? A day. There's only so much water on Earth, right? But somebody says, oh, water gets reused over on, of course, hello, there's only so much. It gets keep it cycled and cycled and cycled. We're heating it all day, every day. Nuclear radiation into the atmosphere, heating up the atmosphere. You can see it in California. There's no marine layer or whatever. Off Fukushima, I've named it plutonium. People can laugh at plutonium all they want. People used to laugh at plutonium, believe it or not. They're like, oh, no, remember it was all quirky and goofy? Let's make, that's what Hulk was. He's a cartoon character, right? It's a comic book. People are like, no, man can't create these things. Well, we know that nuclear fission and the byproduct of nuclear fission, mixing in with the salt water, mixing in with whatever, hydrogen, mixing in with all kinds of these elements, is creating a new synergy that scientists absolutely do not understand. It's like being out there on the water. Oh, take your Geiger counter, take your one. Oh, really? You got several $100,000 to have the proper boat and the proper equipment to have, which, by the way, do not kid yourself. Used to have. There was a woman who left her endowment $10 million. He bought a boat, one of the things, and he had all the equipment. And they did. He blew all the money. He's a rat. He works for them. We know for a fact that he's lock stock funded. He's a rat, a paid rat for the nuclear cartel. We know this factually. By the way, the Navy has the data. And data was leaked to me in the very early days about traces of plutonium showing up off the San Francisco freaking Bay as short as day freaking 50. I have it. You know, I have lots of it. I cannot verify it because it was sent to me by whistleblowers anonymously. But I have a lot of stuff that ended up, and I know that it's fact because the same people that sent me this stuff that on some of these studies that I had very early, and then the study comes out and they're identical, they're twins. So we know the studies are out there. What Dana's done is amazing. That's why I will always be a fan of him. Always. It's not that I did it. It's not the paint of the soup can. I did a paint the soup can, but then you have to paint the fucking soup can. Jeff buys him that boat. I thought, wow, right on. Let's go. But that's the tip of the iceberg growing these things. To actually study the ocean in a proper way, to have the proper equipment, to have which, by the way, the Navy has done over and over, and we know the Navy has the data. The Navy has entire ships that are set up exactly nothing but for this because of their nuclear sub-program. So to think that they do not have every single inch data off Fukushima is so naive. They have it. They have it in hardcore detail. We don't have to go do it. It will get leaked. Mark my words, it will get leaked. And people will be aghast, and they'll say, oh, my God, these very, Dana, what he's done, he says, oh, just taking photographs. Really? It's hard work out there on the freaking water. It's out there what they do. By the way, they've got some beautiful crowd, and what he's trying to document, he says, oh, give me the before and after. Really? I love it how people will say, oh, we've been saying, I call it the Pacific genocide. I've been saying that for how long? Nearly 4 years from the day it happened. Going crazy about it. I mean, you can look it up. That's the beauty of YouTube. Proof. I don't take my videos down. I've been accurate. Sandra-like accurate. I'm in the fight of my life. I'm in the fight of your life. This is serious fucking business. You don't think nuclear fallout because you know nothing about Utah. You know nothing about Russia. You know nothing about the leaks that are going all over this country. And it's not low level. It's very high level. It's dramatic. It's hardcore. It's brutal. This is the greatest ecological catastrophe in human history. The emperor has no fucking clothes. It's ongoing. Marie Antoinette, Obama, and that's another thing. I am so sick and tired of people on this Muslim stuff. Really, do understand the separation of church and state under the Constitution of the United States, which they backdoored the Unpatriot Act. Mission accomplished. Thomas Jefferson, the powerhouse he was. Hamilton, Jefferson, Governor Morris, George Washington, these incredible men. Sam Adams, incredible men. Stood up for the Queen. You do understand separation of church and state. You do understand that they were dryers, and they did not believe in organized religion. You do understand he put his hand on the Quran when he was sworn in. He explored lots of philosophies, like they all did. Very spiritual. They wanted to understand all things. So I don't want to hear it. What, a Muslim has not the right to be in the United States? You're full of shit. Oh, yes, they do. Everybody does. This is the place. This is the aberration. You think this is some Christian nation, which you have hijacked that so grotesquely. The evangelicals should be ashamed of themselves. They don't care. For deposit only these churches, the Mormons should be freaking put in jail, the hierarchy, in violation of the Non-Discrimination Act passed in the early 70s. It's against the law to discriminate and still have tax-free status in this country. And they'll say, oh, there's a loophole running the First Amendment. No, there's not. The First Amendment is very clear. Churches can't be locked. They can't be gated. They have to be transparent. They have to be going in and out. And our forefathers knew, because they knew the Church of England, they knew how it was in bed. The church and the state were the same thing in England. That's what the Revolutionary War was about. Completely opposite of the royal system. Now, it's just like, flags. Flag waving in the United States has only become in vogue in the last 50, 60 years. We didn't even have a Star-Spangled Banner. And the Betsy Ross story is very untrue. You go back 100 years in America, people didn't fly flags. People didn't freaking, they celebrate a little bit on the 4th of July just to be independence because it was independence. Nation building, flag fucking waving, is a grotesque idealism, and Americans knew that. You go back to Mussolini when he started the whole fascist regime. Now, we can talk feudalism, and that's exactly what we are, but we've even involved more than just feudalism because we are a complete police state fascism. We've thrown money at any politician who runs, he's got to get tough on crime, and crime rates are the lowest in the history of this country. Why? Technology. Cops never solve crimes, by the way. It's always independent. It's always kind of, I can go back to Elizabeth Smart, 300 FBI agents on the case. They knew. They didn't solve it. The little girl solved it. We go on every one of these cases. They never solve it because it's free money, just like the nuclear industry. They don't work. They're all geeked up, gung-ho. It's a police state. Until the American populace stands up and hardcore fights back. What they did to Eric Gardner is so disgusting. What they did to Danielle right here in Utah is so disgusting. Murder a 21-year-old girl, blow her freaking face off for nothing. This Cali punk, may he rot in the lowest form of hell forever. And his conscience will eat him alive. Now get this in Utah. This is how evil they are. The young man with the sword, which there's video out now, was not threatened. 2 cops kill him. They've arrested his mother now because she got into it with some cops. She's obviously emotional. Got in a big argument with the cops. I don't know if she slapped a cop or whatever. Let it go. Oh, no, these gung-ho rats are going to charge her. I mean, can you imagine what she's going through psychologically? I can't. It's got to be so hard. It happens daily here in Utah. They kill 100 people daily. Because the mentality says, oh, they must be a drug addict. They must be just a judge, jury, executioner. Kick down doors, no knock warrants for just anybody. Judges just issue warrants left and right. And if you don't think the Utah Supreme Court is hardcore corrupt, you just know this. They overturned the Warren Jeffs conviction. I will say, the only thing Bush ever did right, put that pedophile scumbag piece of shit where he belongs. And by the way, the Bundys are the Jeffs. They're the same people. And you want to go down there and support them? You want to talk about creepy people on all levels. Oh, can I get into that? Until America freaking really starts fighting back, really fighting back. I mean, I can't even imagine this happening to one of my loved ones. We are all Eric Gardner. Every one of us are Eric Gardner. Every one of us. He's our brother. He's our father. He's our son. He's me. He's you. Yeah, we make mistakes. This usury-based economy, people try to make a buck, try to survive every way they can. These white-collar criminals do it. They work for the government. They get free freaking money, and they commit freaking blatant crimes every day and get away with it. Nothing happens to them. Oh, but he's selling cigarettes for not paying taxes on. When Apple doesn't pay any taxes, Caterpillar releases a statement. It says, immigration's key to the expansion of our businesses. Yes, because they want freaking more illegals in the country to exploit. It's not illegal. It's against the law to pay someone cash. Yet these people do it over and over and over. Why do you think they do not fish immigration? They like it just the way it is. Pseudo de facto government on Balco. It's disgusting. Excuse me. They're exploiting the situation. They take 100 people from the fucking South. We never had no fucking border. We never had a border. You're going to employ somebody, you have to do it fairly. Why? Because it is the community. It's not just economics, it's moral fabric. It's what a society is made of. Completely eroded it. Devastated it. Broke down all barriers. Took out quality, took out integrity, took it all out. Our youth, our beautiful, brilliant, genius youth that we have, who have grown up in the technology age and the information age, so educated, so smart because of the internet. They got no shot. You got these beautiful minds that are serving coffee. When we were 18, our parents didn't do that to us. Were they protectionists? Absolutely, they were protectionists. Tariffs? I think it's coincidence everybody drove a Ford and a GM. 40-hour work week, the average American made $106,000 a year in 1975. Tax rate on the 1%, 90%. We did not believe in inherited wealth. My great-grandfather, one of the guys that found the gold at Sutter's Mill. Without he, there is no Mormon church. I got news for you. They did not believe in inherited wealth. The many, 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 many millions of dollars owned, the real estate, everything, all of it. All of it. He left my mom $30,000 when he died. 30 grand. That means none. Why? None of us. He was a good man. I really loved him. 6 grandsons, 6 granddaughters. I told my grandma he was even so smart he even had the number right, just enough for pallbearers. The geniuses that they were. They did not believe in inherited wealth, which was as American as they get. Why? They knew. They knew the feudals. It was very common. Warren Buffett talks about it all the time. He talks about it all the time. It is anti-American because we know it creates the Rothschild system. By the way, and I can really get into the Federal Reserve being hijacked. Glass-Steagall stripped the power away. What have they done? They completely unwinded it and handed it all right back to the Rothschilds, the international bankers, when it was stripped away by us as Americans. Not because FDR wanted to. I'm a traitor to my class. He was forced to. He had no choice. The American populace rose up because they were starving to death. The crash of 2008, the crash of 1929, exactly the same. And people say, oh, well, how does the Federal Reserve come? Well, let's get real about the American banking system since the central bank was created in 1776. It's went broke private, it's went broke public. When the government went broke. When the private went broke, off and on, it's been an ebb and flow. Is it time to freaking shut down? Oh, yeah, they've run their course. Greenspan did them in. The restructuring 34, Glass-Steagall, they stripped it all away. All those protections, they're all gone. The Fed blew their gig. Should the Fed be ended? Yes, absolutely. That gig's over. That gig, Greenspan was the death blow to the Fed. The Fed's had fucking 15 years, and look what they did since 87, really. And we can go clear back to fucking Bill Walmart, fucking House of Windsor, fucking Oxford Clinton. The deregging they did in the 90s, when he was supposed to be the freaking... Ross Perot was right. Ross Perot, every word he said was fucking... Who's the terror president? Which one? Red, blue? Which one? You can hear a giant. He signs NAFTA, and he'll sign it. Whoosh. The rest is history. Until we understand and we realize as Americans and wake up, the 2 greatest failures in the history of humanity, which killed America. 1, trickle-down economics, the free market fairy tale, the feudal system, as we blocked the East India Company, and now Walmart, the new East India Company. The global workforce is 2 billion strong. Ours is 100 million. Do the math. The average hourly wage in the world, 25 cents an hour. You're willing to buy your cheap goods, which they are cheap goods. We took it. My daughter said the other day, she says, God, I buy my child these plastic junky toys, and they're expensive. And she says, and then he comes to your house, and I look at these toys you have from the 50s. And he loves them, and he still plays them. And I says, yeah, that's my point. We had this conversation. I said, you know when the last time I bought a Christmas gift was? She says, I can't ever remember. I said, you think it's because I'm a cheapskate? Yeah, maybe. She says, no. I said, you don't believe in it. I'm a big believer in Christmas. I love Christmas. I used to really love Christmas. It used to be a giant party for here when we were, what an amazing time it used to be in Utah. Really an amazing time. The snow, the happiness, people off work, a strong, hardcore union town, had the whole week parties, people together. It was so exciting. It was so grand. It's all gone now. Everybody's working. Christmas bonuses used to be common of what would be $5,000, $10,000 in today's dollars. Not today. Huge, beautiful Christmas parties. I used to have really great ones for my plastering business, and it's all over. No protectionists. People are working their ass off trying to make ends meet. The food chain completely destroyed. Sad what's happened to America. And it's sad, as us as anti-nuclear activists, there's only a very, very few of us. There's only a handful that are willing to get in the street and willing to do the work. And it's hard. I did it long before I got cancer, for decades and decades and decades. I used to tell the stories of the atomic veterans. People look at me like I literally had 3 eyeballs. It was hardcore. It was brutal. We're up against the wall. We're up against the rats. We're up against the trolls. We're up against the haters. And they use every slick, dirty trick in the book. We have to stand strong. I know what I'm up to. I've known this for decades. I've been in this fight way too long. Taught by the best of the best, Edward Abbey, Wallace Stegner. I know. I've watched this, but never have we been under attack like this. Snown revealed it in his documents. He revealed it that they're using PR firms, and then the email got leaked from inside that it's Edelman with as an office right there in Calgary, Canadian Pipeline. Falco told me himself. Worked for him for 16 years, never gave me a promotion. Huh. I don't know what he's up to, but I do know what they're all up to. It's time for people to freaking stand up and defend me and Dana. It's time. These people that are out freaking doing the work. Thank you to all you great keyboard activists who've done a lot of the incredible work. We need you. There's a lot of great ones. And they've been threatened too. Missing Sky was threatened. That chick's been threatened. Jan, grotesquely threatened by the same group of people. Right after Sunday. Again, against the law. I mean, these people are ruthless and they're evil. They're sick fuckers. Sick bastards. You know, but they will not intimidate me. I'm going to Joe Cap them. First chance I get. They threw the first one. You watch that video. Joe Cap. Want to fight? Let's do it. Go Stampeders. We'll keep this freaking fight going. You will not intimidate me, for I fear no evil. I fear no evil. The angels, they watch out over me. I'm on the right side of this issue. So is Dana, so is a lot of us. We're on the right side of this issue. Stand strong.
All nuclear fighters, all hands on deck, all hands on deck, all hands on deck. All nuclear fighters, all hands on deck, all hands on deck, all hands on deck. They'll be calling you a radical. Twin Gate, 311, whatever you want to call it. I call it